Hello Bags, it's Joe Plays Games with my top 5 ranked Extinction creatures. That's right, there is only technically 5, so it's not that big a list. I'm not including the mechs in this video, but I wanted to give you my rundown of what my favourite creatures are in Extinction, the brand new DLC for ARK Survival Evolved. So come with me as I give you the creatures, the lowdown, everything you need to know about these wonderful new additions to ARK Survival Evolved. Surely one of the most strangest creatures is number 5 in my list, the Gasbag. It at first seems pretty useless, but it does have some merits. The Gasbag is your pack mule. It can carry a bunch of resources much better than any other dinosaur. It also carries metal a lot better than any other creature. The Gasbag inhales large amounts of air which it can expand upon when it wants to flee or attack any other creatures. Gasbags are docile, they won't necessarily attack any other players, and any predators that come by them, they will release the air from their underbelly on them. So if you're looking to tame one of these, you just got to keep up with it and make sure it doesn't fly away too much if it decides to jump away. When it does that, look for its blowback. It can cause you to be shunted along and you never know when you're going to be put into the claws of a T-Rex. Strictly not a flyer in the traditional sense, however, when you are up in the air and you've expanded, you can control it and you can glide in certain directions. Depending on how much air you have as well, you won't receive any fall damage if you've got a tiny bit in your bag still. Gasbags are primarily going to be your getaway dinosaur. If you've got a pack of hungry corrupted dinosaurs on your ass, then make sure you jump on one of these and rise up away from danger. Their favourite food is vegetables, and it is a knockout tame, so you will going to have to use your narcotic arrows etc. to knock it out and then pop it in with some food. If you wait for the Gasbag to use up all its air while trying to tame it before knocking it out, you will actually increase its torpor multiplier, so it should stay asleep much longer, meaning you won't have to use as many narco berries. The snow owl freezing attack also causes them to deflate, so if you see another enemy player in PvP riding around one of these, go up to it with your snow owl, use the attack, and you will make the poor little Gasbag deflate and plummet to the ground. Now the Gasbag is number 5 because it just simply moves around a little bit too slow. It's much better than an Anki, of course, because you can escape, and it is going to be your go-to dinosaur for gathering and making sure you can carry large amounts of resources, but it just doesn't have enough controllability in the air. I really wish you could glide a little bit more. If you pump lots of points into oxygen, you will extend the time you can actually fly or glide in the sky. They are super cute with their big lovely puppy eyes and their little antennas. I can't wait to go and try some of these out and maybe have a little bit of fun seeing what happens when you get a bunch of them tamed together, having a little race or a little destruction derby. But that's why it's number 5 in my ranked Extinction creatures. Number 4 is the Velonasaur. This prickly beast is going to be most used, particularly in PvP, to set up turrets. It is a walking gun. That is pretty much its biggest strength. The way it fires its spindles, you can do it in lots of different modes. You can do it in this mode here, which means you've got more targeted, you can focus on particular dinosaurs or players, and then it's got its area of field attack, which swipes around and takes out anyone that gets too close. Now these are really dangerous to players if you stay at range. The spindles cause a massive amount of damage and they're going to be really useful. However, they're not the quickest of creatures. You can run up on this guy if you've got something fairly meaty and decent, and its torpor's quite low. So as long as you've got enough cover or you get up close, they shouldn't be too much of a problem. Think of them as a bit more agile thorny dragon. The longer range attack will shred lots of armour, so make sure you have got that protection. A shield will give you a bit of a bonus defence, but be warned, it can still do damage. The area of field attack as well only happens occasionally, and that will definitely do a lot of damage if you get too close to it. It has got the usual swipe attacks as well, so it can be useful just going out and hunting creatures on the quickness. When you set it in turret mode, you can put it on aggressive and it will shoot anything that comes in sight. Early game, this is going to be your scout creature that you're going to be using to explore, and then maybe you can turn it into a bit of a more hardened, battled creature by pumping up loads of points into its stamina, which will mean it can fire its quills a lot longer. And that's why it's number 4. It's great creature, it's great attack, and it's great for defense. However, if you're playing single player or PvE, it maybe doesn't have as many utility uses because of the turret mode maybe not being that great. Of course, unless you're going to be going for some orbital drops, maybe a pack of these can be set in their turret mode and they'll help defend against the corrupted dinosaurs. But for me, I still think it deserves its place at number 4. Mainly because it's an ugly little bugger. I'm not a big fan of having a pet that's a whoopee cushion. You guys let me know whether or not you like this guy. Number 3 is the Managarmr. That's right, I said it wrong probably, but this creature here, otherwise known as Falcor from Neverending Story, is an absolute beast. The way it dashes around can be a bit difficult to get used to, but once you master how to traverse the map with this guy, you will be running around, moving around, flying around quicker than any of the other creatures. You just need to pump up its stamina. It's got a wide range of attacks, particularly its ice frozen damage attack is absolutely beast mode. If you're fighting for your life with one of these guys, you might want to do it on foot. While it's in the air, it will use its ice attack, and it's so erratic the way it moves, you'll have a hard time getting to grips with it, particularly if you're on a slow flyer. However, on the ground, as long as you're strafing alongside it, doing small circles, you will be able to give it some damage, maybe with a sword or a close-up shotgun. Now, taming this might be a bit more difficult. You're going to have to build some decent trap to really capture it in, and it is a knockout tame, so you will have to pump it full of narcotics before you can actually tame it. The area damages it does are a bit sporadic as well. The ice damage does do a fair amount, and it does freeze creatures, so that's the bonus with that one, where its swipe attacks will maybe do a sort of medium damage. Now when it comes to gliding around or jumping with your speed boost, be warned, it will carry on using more and more stamina every time you speed boost. I'm in creative mode here, so I'm not losing any stamina on the creature, but it does run out very quickly, and you'll be surprised how often you'll be left without the speed boost when you need it. The creature can run around on the ground very fast as well, and it is extremely agile. It's just not very good close-up combat. You'll find these in the ice biome. This is where you're going to have the hardest time trying to tame one, with the added coldness, the elements and all the other creatures. Maybe think about building a trap and a little way station. It's fairly decent for transport as well because it can carry multiple people, so I really do think this is going to be an agile scout like creature and probably your go-to. It is the equivalent of the Drake or the Wyvern on this map, but it just doesn't maybe do enough damage compared to them creatures. In PvP, this creature is going to excel. It's so hard to get a bead on it, particularly if it's controlled by an actual player. You're going to have a hard time battling one of these guys. So, the Managarmr, my number 3 in my ranked extinction creatures. Number 2 is the Gacha. This creature surprisingly is number 2. I'm going to tell you why. I am a PvE player. I don't play PvP. This creature is going to offer a whole world of ways to get extra resources. If you treat these creatures not maybe like creatures but mobile farms, you're going to have a very good time with this guy. Basically, get as many of these as you can and you can get bunches of resources from them, and all you have to do is feed them your junk. Are you ever sick of seeing your storage chest filled with just stuff you don't need? Well, feed it to these guys and they will reproduce resources that you need, and sometimes you'll get some decent loot from them too. Each gacha may give you different resources. That's why you need a bunch of these to get the maximum yield out of them. Their favourite food is snow owl pellets. That's why it's really crucial that you get a hold of a snowy owl. Now at launch this was bugged and people were getting OP loot. They've nerfed that since. However, on Xbox One and PS4 you may still be able to get some OP loot if you do this really quickly. It is a really useful utility creature, and that's why I like it, and that's why I've put it at number 2. It does have a range of attacks. They can be quite powerful and it can be quite tanky, but it does move incredibly slow. If you want to tame one of these, you will have to do it passively by feeding it that junk. You just drop it on the floor and the gacha will come along and eat it, and that's how you tame it. They are docile creatures. They won't attack you unless you have provoked them. There's a lot of extra stuff you need to know about these guys. You've got to keep them happy. They will produce more high quality loot if that's the case. If they go into their sad mode, they won't produce any decent loot. So if you are setting up a gacha farm, make sure you actually separate these correctly. If you have too many gachas close together, they go into sad mode, so make sure to test it around a little bit and get that distance right. These guys will eat absolutely anything, blueprints, weapons, you name it, so don't accidentally leave something on the floor near one of these where you might find it will digest it. But the loot is well worth it, and the resources that you get. Pump its crafting speed points and you'll get even better loot. Truly, the gacha is a game changer. We've had other creatures that can produce different types of resources, or they harvest resources when you set them on wander, but this is the first time that something so easy and just really simple, popping items in front of it or popping it in its inventory, gets you better resources. It does like element, it does like lots of crystal items and metal as well, so think about the high resource value of stuff, put it into that if you've got an abundance. They're really not a fighting creature, they are going to be your farm, so make sure you get loads of these. Absolutely crucial. That's why it's number 2 in my ranked extinction creatures. So number 1 is the Snow Owl. Absolutely hands down one of the best flyers in the game at this point now. It's got so many uses. It's got a real mixture of agility, speed, it can carry a fair amount as well, and it's just got a decent amount of combat options alongside, of course, its healing options. Now when I say combat, it's not necessarily going to be doing the greatest amount of damage to other creatures, but its freezing ability where it can freeze other creatures momentarily is absolutely crucial. Now it does heal the creatures, but it does mean that you've got a few seconds to get yourself together and go on the attack or build some sort of little mini trap. Its manoeuvrability is on par with the Griffin, and that's where it's going to be its greatest strength, is getting around the map quickly, efficiently, and being able to get out of trouble because it can move so well. The dive feature is fantastic. It's another returning feature from the Griffin, and I absolutely love it. You can do a small attack with it as well. It doesn't do the greatest amount of damage as an area of a field attack, but it certainly is useful. This is where it comes into its own though, the healing attack. It basically freezes up. It will heal you, it will heal the birds, and it will heal any creature directly in front of it. It's going to take some getting used to for some people, healing creatures up as a form of combat, but this is really crucial. You can do this attack and it will give you up to 10 seconds where, if you land it correctly, creatures will be frozen. Now I have got a detailed tamed video giving you all the information, whole showcasing its abilities, showing how to breed them, where to find them and everything else you need to know about these creatures. But for me, it is just number one, hands down the best creature in Extinction. It's just so many uses with that freezing ability. And for you, no longer are you going to be worried about getting overheated and losing health in the desert, or getting too cold in the ice biomes, or going through the sulfuric fields and losing energy. You can just heal yourself with one of these guys all the time. Faster than Argentavis, a little bit slower than a Pteranodon, these creatures are absolutely OP. Go and get one of these the first chance you get. Now the level is quite high, you're going to need to be at least like level 61 I do believe, but it's definitely worth it once you get to that point. Go and grab one of these creatures. With the Gacha as its companion, these guys are going to give you so many different options to play Extinction and get lots of resources and being able to go and explore. Truly, I do believe this is one of the best creatures I've seen in ARK in terms of what it can do for you. It does use a fair amount of stamina, so I would increase that for sure, and obviously you're going to take a while to get one of these like I said, but it is just the best creature in Extinction for me. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favourite creatures are from seeing the gameplay. Now you're getting a chance to play it yourself as it's coming out on Xbox and PS4. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I will be covering the mechs, the Enforcer and the Scout in a separate video. Don't worry, I've got you covered for Extinction. I am Jade Plays Games. I will see you ratbags for another ranked video very soon.